So you guys are following this whole Dylan Mulvaney story with Bud Light. So you've seen the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so check this out.
Okay.
So Dylan Mulvaney, Bud Light sponsors. Okay, I watched the interview of the VP of marketing for Bud
saw
Light.
that as
You
well.
saw that,
Yep.
okay?
Yes.
And she starts off by saying, "I'm a businesswoman. Here's what I'm looking at. Da 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 da. Here's what I have to do." And we looked at the Bud Light brand. It was kind of dying off. You know, it was more like the fratty. You know, this, that. I'm like, okay. First of all, here's what I pulled up just a minute ago before we came in. What is the profile of a beer drinker? Let's actually do that.
Yeah.
What is the profile of a beer drinker? So we went up and we looked it up. 80% of beer drinkers are what? Men.
Men.
Of course.
You can't force a woman to drink beer if they don't want to.
Yeah.
Women like wine. Women like, what is the dessert wine?
like
rosé or,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
rosé.
Women like, okay. And by the way, that's stupid. That's not me telling you. That's stats. When you look at the stats, you're not going to, if you and I right now had a rosé, it'd be kind of weird, right? If, like, hey, you want to have some rosé, Pat? I would say, you're serious, bro? Maybe you said, hey, you want to have a full send beer? You want to have this? It'd be a little bit more, yeah, let's have a drink together, have a conversation. So the profile of a beer drinker, 4 out of 5 is male, okay? It's not the LGBTQ community. And then you have to look at the transgender community, and they'll say, well, there's about 1.5 million transgenders in America that identify as a transgender. No, there's not. The number is so much smaller because beer drinkers can't be 13 years old, Gen Z.
True.
Yeah.
Beer drinkers have to be what? Above 21. You have to be a dummy of a VP of marketing to say,
It's true.
us targeting to transgender community, more men are going to want to drink beer. So then you go into saying, well, then it's the ESG score. So we went online and we looked at the ESG score of Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch, and you notice they have one of the lowest ESG scores in America out of all the companies. So she's trying to increase the ESG score. But this is the part about, if you ever read the book Blue Ocean Strategy, in Blue Ocean Strategy, it's a phenomenal book. Everybody that's in business should read it. They don't talk about conforming. You try to get into a market that other people are not in, like Yellowtail used to compete with other wine drinkers, and then they realize their wine sucks compared to any wine company. So Yellowtail went from targeting wine drinkers to Yellowtail went to target beer drinkers. They took off. They went from selling a few 100,000 cases per year to 40 million cases per year because their target of audience was beer drinkers, okay? So you're paying $2 for beer, you can pay $6 now, whatever. That was kind of the way they approach it. It's absolutely insane what some of these guys are doing. So now, going back to your question about, do you think conservative? I think that's kind of what you're asking the question.
Yeah.
Here's what I will tell you, which is awesome, which is absolutely awesome. This whole thing about feminists defending transgenders. You're a moron is what you are. Do you realize how dumb of an argument that is?
Yep.
Let me get this straight. Feminism was to protect women.
Yep.
So I'm a man, I decide to think I'm a woman, and I go beat other women in MMA fights or in swimming, you're turning me into a hero? Guess what? Your argument's about to fall apart right in front of you by your own people.
Yeah.
So the whole concept of, you know, what's going on right now with ideas, bad ideas eventually get get exposed. There's an actress, her name is, what's this girl's name? Her name is Sarah Foster. I don't know if you guys know who Sarah Foster is.
Yeah.
She comes out and she says the following. She says, I am a Democrat, okay? But she says San Francisco is turning into a shithole, and it's all because of the Democratic policies. This is a woman that's on Vanity Fair saying this. Disgusting, my heart breaks for the family. I'm a registered Democrat and feel confident saying liberal politicians are ruining cities. So what does this mean? Good ideas eventually get exposed. Good talent eventually get exposed. Ron Paul said one of the best things. He said, when eventually I became so passionate about politics, when I was a doctor, I went to this one guy and I said, listen, I can't stop reading this material. I'm obsessed with this content. What do I do? He said, keep talking about it. The world tends to know how to use people with the right messages and make them big. You keep talking about it, the right person's going to find you, right?
True.
Good policies get exposed. Good talent get exposed. Bad policies also get exposed. And that's exactly what's happening today, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are paying the price for bad policies today.
It's funny you mentioned the feminist movement and how it's kind of like hypocritical what they're doing right now. We had a conversation with both our sisters yesterday because they both work with us at our marketing agency as well. And we're just like, you need to be upset about this.
Yeah.
I said, I'm upset and he's upset. I said, but you guys need to be upset about this because there's so much we can fight about it, right? And again, what's a man gonna say to a feminist, right? But if women start standing up and saying something, now that could be something, right? What are your thoughts on that?
I think they are, but I think what's happening right now, so there's three different camps.
Yeah.
There's a camps that the feminists, to them, the idea was, you know what, that is right, you and I are equal. I am just as good as you. I should get paid just as much as you do. I should do this, and I should do that, and I should do this. And the idea seems a noble idea. And then all of a sudden you look at it and you're like, yeah, this is kind of not working, that camp. And I meant to get at the vault at Diplomat 6 months ago, 8 months ago. And I gave a questionnaire to everybody that night. And I said, the next day I want you to come and share with us the biggest breakthrough you had. One of these girls, she's a Persian girl, late 30s, very attractive. She's kind of raising her hand like this, her sister sitting next to her. But I haven't seen her yet, but I know she's going like this. She's not going like this. There's a big difference,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like you're hoping, don't call mommy,
Yeah.
right? So eventually, after 10 questions, she goes like this. Now she really wants to say it. So I call on her. I said, what's the breakthrough you had? She said, my biggest breakthrough is I've been competing with men for the last 30 years, and I've been beating them. I make a lot of money. I do very well for myself. All my people make money. I'm beating my cousins. I'm beating all these guys. But I'm 39 years old, and all I thought about last night, all night, is I want a husband. I no longer want to compete with men.
Wow.
I want to marry one, and I want to have a family. This is the beautiful part about you and I have had many bad ideas before. You know what's a great thing about parents sometimes? They'll see their kid that has a bad idea, and rather than getting in the way, they'll say what? Go ahead and see how it
do
goes.
it,
Yeah,
do it.
yeah,
And then you go do it and you come back and say, Dad, that was a shitty idea. I'm glad you learned.
Yeah.
And then next one. And you just hope some of the ideas are not the bad ones that, you just want to make sure some of the bad ideas they go and test. The feminists that bought into that now they're older, more and more of them are saying to people, I'm 62 years old. I was a feminist. Now I'm single. I've never been married. I don't have any kids. I am so lonely. I hate the fact that I bought into the feminist argument. I wish I would have got married. I wish I would have had kids. And I realized man is not my enemy. It's so emotional when you see this because there's nothing worse than seeing somebody that wasted their lives.
Yeah.
And the pain when you see them, you're like, man, I feel for you, man, on what you're going through.
It's the worst thing.
Yeah, then there's the
Worst
other
thing.
one where it's kind of like, look, I want you to respect me as well. I'm not a feminist. I love men. I want to get married, but I just want to get some respect as well. And maybe I want to build a business. I want to do this. Cool. Go do your thing as well. And then there's those that are sitting around saying, look, I honestly don't know what's going on. I'm just kind of like watching on the sidelines. And now they're starting to realize this shit just doesn't make sense. I'm a Democrat. I voted for this, but I don't know about this stuff now. It's starting to get a little bit too much. Over the next few years, they're going to get louder and louder and louder.